for those of you that have checked the recordings before, you probably have found that it's difficult to hear. The microphone's kind of a weird thing, so my son, in his infinite technological wisdom, has ordered me this, which is what you see. So hopefully when you watch the videos, if you ever need to watch the videos, whether you're absent or you're just using them as like a review thing, the audio will be a little bit better. So let's get going today. We'll get into today. We have classwork and homework, but again, as long as you're going to get through the instructions pretty quick, and I think you'll probably be able to get out of here without necessarily having homework to do at home. But again, make sure that you fully understand everything we're doing. Make sure you're asking questions. This is where we're kind of venturing. We're wading into the Unit 4 water at this point. It's like to try to find the slope and try to fill in the blanks. Guys, your first goal always is to find the slope. Whether it's an equation, whether it's a graph, whether it's tables, whether it's ordered pairs, no matter what. Your first job is to always find the slope. The slope will lead you everywhere else you need to go. Okay? So how do we find slope from a table?
Changing y over changing.
Very good. Changing y over changing x. So let's start finding our changes. Negative 15 to negative 3 on the number line.
Plus 12.
Very good. Plus 12. Make sure you're paying attention to value. Negative 3, 1.
Plus 4.
Good. And then that's plus 8. And then that is plus 4. And then that we don't really know yet, but we'll get there. What is negative 8 to positive 1?
Plus 9.
Plus 9. Very good. Then we have plus 3. We do not know. We do not know. And here we have plus 12. Now, remember that the ratio of changing y to changing x has to be the same. And so we're missing the change in y here and here and the change in x here. Now, what I do first, and then Joe, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so like when you find the slope, you have like take the lowest one 3 over 4.
Okay, so yeah, and that's the most basic one, right? We know that this change in y over change in x, change in y over change in x equals 3 over 4. And that cannot be simplified. Therefore, our slope is 3/4. So then, Joey, what do you do?
And then you could just be like 3 over 4, and then x over 3.
There are a couple, very good. Guys, there are a couple ways to solve this. One is through proportions. Remember proportions? Proportions are just equivalent ratios. If you know you're changing y over changing x is 3 over 4, and you're looking for this right here, you could set that up as a proportion and say, well, I have question mark over a, and it has to equal 3 over 4. What would that question mark have to be at this time? It has to be 6 because we use a scale factor times 2 times 2. And then go 4 plus 6 is 10. Very good. And then that also that allows us to fill in here as well. Right? Now on this one, on that last one, you can, I know, but I want you to understand, you can set up a proportion, but there's another thing you could have done. You might do something where you didn't set up a proportion and still understood how to get that one. Tristan, what'd you do? You could even do this, by the way. You could have even just done this. Times 4 times 4. Does that work? What is the change in on the bottom? What did you get as the change?
16.
16. You notice times 3 times 3, which is basically like a proportional scale, because the ratio is constant. If you don't see that, you could have still set up your slope, which is 3 over 4, and set it equal to, now remember, it's change in y over change in x. What is the 12? It's the change in what? The change in y, so it goes up here, and then you have x. Then you just have a proportion. How do you solve for x when you have an empty value? You look for a way to go from the left to the right using scale factor. That's your first one. Times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, which then gives you 29. Yes, sir?
The change in 10 and 13 is 20.
Right where?
Right there, the change in 10 and 13.
Ooh, excellent.
That's what I was trying to say.
That was a test, and
But then you
y'all
said,
passed.
I know if it's.
That was done without the benefit of special education. So, I made it. Everyone good?
Yeah.
Any questions at all? You sure? Okay, so what are you gonna do first every time? Find the slope. Find the slope every single time. I need you to find the slope. And I need you to get a mental picture of the slope. What can you tell me about this line? You should be able to tell me two things. Someone give me one thing. Sydney. Do what? About. Well, why did you burn your finger? All right. But you first have to tell me one thing you know about that line. Tell me if you have a slope. If you have a slope of 3/4, tell me one thing you know about that line.
It's increasing.
It's increasing. Here, go nurse. Hi, how are you? No, but give 2 seconds, it'll be better. Thank you. Stop burning yourself. It is increasing. What else can you tell me, Zahidi? It's kind of flat because it's only rising 3 and going over 4. So if we were to draw this line, it probably looks kind of like that. Everyone good to go? Fantastic. Hopefully, going to pause the video. Okay, my bad. So does everyone get how to kind of form that mental image of a line? Okay, so let's get into what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk, we've learned about slope, right? So let's just kind of go back over. What variables do you put in the slope? And always. How do we find slope from a rise over run? And we're always reading this. This is not going to continue with this expression. So you can, I could take a rest. Got it? Fantastic. How do we read rise over run? Left to right, always. How do we know we're doing it wrong? If we run to the left, you should never run to the left, ever, okay? The only time you ever run left is when you're going backwards to find more points on the line, but when you're determining the slope, I want you going left to right, okay? So that's why I go run. Other times, for example, change the line, change the left, change the green letters, how about from 2? Very good. Remember the full formula, y minus y1 over x minus x. When I want the points labeled, I want the formula rewritten with open parentheses. Okay? And that's basically slope. What is slope? Very good. It's the mathematical measurement associated with the slope of the slant of the line. It's how slanted the line is mathematically. Right? It's how slanted the line is mathematically. So let's get into x and y intercepts. Now, what do you think the y-intercept is? Where the line crosses the y-axis. The x-intercept then would be where it crosses the x-axis. So for the graph, it becomes pretty straightforward as long as you understand which one is your x-axis and which one is your y. So if I have x-intercept, it is simply where it crosses the x-axis. Now listen very carefully. What ordered pair does that represent, please? It is 2, 0. Remember when you're writing an ordered pair, it is the x value and then the y value. It is the x value and then the y value. So you can still kind of get that backwards. So be careful with that. So where is the y-intercept? It is at 0, 4. It is at, it's another way. It's another way. Yeah. Negative 4, 4 is not where it crosses the x or the y-axis. We are looking for the x-intercept and the y-intercept. The x-intercept is where it crosses this line. The y-intercept is where it crosses this line. You should never have more than one x-intercept or more than one y-intercept when you're talking about a line. It's impossible. What would the line have to do in order to have 2? It has to curve, and lines do not curve. Mathematically speaking, lines never curve. Yes? We'll get that in a moment. But it means that there's still never more than one. That's all I say. You'll never have more than one x-intercept y-intercept. Ever. Okay, we'll get that in a second. Go. Well, let's talk about that. Let's look at the next one. Where would the x-intercept be? Let's go to the x-axis. Right? Yeah, we should just see if it hits it and we're so it's effective 1, 0. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. 0, 1. Very good. So, from a graph, you can find the x-intercept by simply looking at where the line crosses the x-axis. And to find the y-intercept, you're simply looking for where the line crosses the y-axis. Now, you need to make sure you understand which one is the x and which one is the y. You just need to figure that one out. Okay? You should know where the x-axis and the y-axis are. Okay? Any questions on that? Cool. Let's go into a little bit. Good one. Joe, you said, okay, let's back up. What do you notice about both x-intercepts to make it example? The y value is 0 for the x-intercept. So when you're looking for the x-intercept on a table, you will be looking for where the y value is 0, and that is your x-intercept. What do you think the potential mistake is on your homework? Exactly. The y-intercept would be where the x value is 0. The x-intercept over here is 9, 0, and the y-intercept is 0, negative 6. Which means that you can find the x-intercept on a table by looking at where the y value equals 0. That's where the x-intercept is. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Because if you think about any point that's on the x-axis, name any ordered pair on the x-axis. No, that's not on the x-axis. 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, negative 8, 0. Any point on the x-axis, if you grab this ordered pair, will be a 0 y value. Joey? That doesn't change anything, it just means the x and y axis and the x and y intercepts. Same thing. Okay? You can find the y-intercept by looking at where the x value equals 0. And again, if you think about from a coordinate grid standpoint, if you graph any point on the y-axis, so I'd say here's the y. If you were graphing these points, this would be 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, up, no, walk there, reverse it. I can do a little walk up. 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 340. Scale the graph things. Okay? But anything on the y-axis is going to have an x value of 0. Everybody got it? You have to be careful to make sure you're thinking. And we talk a lot about algebra, the first one we have to pause and think before you answer. Make sure you're doing that. Now let's talk about from an equation. Now we've already decided that the x-intercept is where what is 0. The x-intercept is where y is 0. So I want you to watch. For the x-intercept, the y value is 0. Agreed? If we take our equation and we make the y 0. So it becomes 0 equals negative 2x plus 6. Now, do we have more than one variable or just one variable? Now we just have one variable. Can we solve an equation with one variable? Yeah, because we have those mathematical skills. We would subtract 6, and your goal is to get the variable by itself. Yes. Move until I'm done. Right. So you would subtract 6 from both sides. What is 0 minus 6? Negative 6 on the left-hand side and negative 2x on the right. How do we get the x by itself? Out of the bracket, please. Divide both sides by negative 2. This cancels, and our x equals positive 3. Our x value is positive 3, which tells you if you graph this line, I know it crosses the x-axis at 3, or more specifically, 3, 0.
0. The y value is going what is 0? X. Now watch what happens here. I also intercept this. Watch what happens. Now y equals -2 times 0 plus 6, because we just made the x value 0. What happens to this whole term?
0.
Goes away. Y equals 6. Which, by the way, means, if you haven't figured it out, that in slope-intercept, what is this? It's the y-intercept. It has to be because it's where x is 0. So now we know in slope-intercept, now we know what both numbers represent. The m represents the slope of the line, and the b value, which is the constant at the end, represents where it crosses the y-axis. Does that make sense? So I'm talking x and the y-intercept to number 2, please. Now remember, the x-intercept is where the y is 0, the y-intercept, where the x is 0. Now, just warn you, what you should have got to the points 5, 0, and 0, -2. By the way, how many points do you need to graph a line? Well, 1 would be difficult. 2. You don't only need to graph a line with 2 points and a ruler, right? 2 points and a ruler. If I was asked to graph this line, the easiest thing to do is to find the x and y intercepts, and then to draw a line with the ruler. Way easier than trying to make a table or any of that other garbage, right? So keep that in mind. By the way, if I were to graph this one, what would you do? You have 2 good answers. Someone give me 1. So you give me 1. So if you've got the line intercept, give me 1. What'd you say? If you're wrong, nothing happens. I mean, something falls down the ceiling. But other than that, nothing else happens. What's the other thing? Graph the y-intercept is 1. And then find the x-intercept. So could you still find the x and y-intercept for this? No problem. What else could you do? Tristan? Find the y-intercept, which is sitting right there, and then go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1 on the other points. Right? You could simply use the slope to find all the other points and you're good to go. So you find the x-intercept by substituting 0 for the y value that they solve for x. You can find the y-intercept by, I'm going to go to okay, so I'm right up to go where it's going. Substituting 0 for x and solving for the y. By the way, guys, just think. If you find that x is 5, where are you going to put the 5 in the ordered pairs? The x side. Don't think, I cannot tell you how many people say x equals 5, and they go 0, 5. Well, no, because then they just put it in the y value. If you decide that x is 5, please put the 5 where the x goes. If you find that y is -2, please put the y where the -2 where the y goes. Don't. You'd be amazed how many people on this whole work make like 30s because you did everything right and everything wrong all at the exact same time. Okay? It's the most amazing feat ever. Not that easy. So, here we go. Okay, x and y intercept specifications. X and y-intercept, special cases. 9. Okay, so the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. On a horizontal line, where does it cross the x-axis? I do want my sock back. Okay. On number 1, where does it cross the x-axis? It doesn't. If you look at the x-axis, that line never crosses it. You would write none. Because it does not do it. No. Right now. Write the extra N and the U. Okay, come on now. Check it out. It crosses the y-axis where? Right here, which is at 0, -1, because the x value is 0. Vertical line, where's the x-intercept? Very good. -3, 0. The y-intercept? None. With the N and the E, okay? Yeah, just like me, okay? Because I'm very busy and I can't. Okay? Now, here's an interesting thing, and this is what I want you to kind of conceptualize in your head. Before you give me the trick, I want you to imagine all these order pairs graphed. -2, -6, -2, 2, -2, -1, -2, 0. Joey, what's the line? Vertical or horizontal? No, I want the word vertical or horizontal. It is a vertical line. So we know when these are graphed, it's a vertical line. So that means, does it have an x-intercept or does it have a y-intercept? It crosses the x-axis. Where do you think it crosses the x-axis? -2, 0. -2, 0. You can also remember, the x-intercept is where the y value is 0. You've done that as well. What about the y-intercept? None. All of these, what do you think the line looks like? Horizontal. What's the slope of the horizontal line? 0. Very good. It's a 0 slope. Remember the Z trick? It's a 0 slope line. So I didn't ask you that, but the slope is 0. What's the slope here? Undefined. It's undefined slope. So the x-intercept is where? On our horizontal line. None. And the y-intercept is at 0, 4. Guys, on this homework and this classwork, take your time. It's really easy to make some silly mistakes, but you should be able to get this done when we walk out of here and you can have the weekend.